Oh,
All right, stand by for a quick intro. Welcome back to another episode of the Strongman Winner Circle podcast. I'm your host, Nicholas Canby. This is episode 63, and this is the America's Strongest Man 105 kilo preview. And today I have a special guest of none other than Jeffrey Lee coming to the plate to talk all things strongman for these 105 kilo athletes. So let's get into it and talk about what we think who's going to win this year at America's Strongest Man.
oh man, those are awesome pictures. Oh, wow.
Isn't it great? Oh man, I was going through. But welcome
Yeah,
to the show, Jeff. This is what your fourth time or so.
third time actually. Yeah, because we did the Clash one, ASM, and then ASM again now. So
You did a solo one. Don't forget about your
yeah.
solo.
hmm No,
Or is
just
that the
those
one you're
three.
referring to?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah,
Those three.
Lash.
All right,
Yeah, but
but it's good to
yeah.
have you back, regardless. But we're here to talk
Always
about
good to.
America's Strongest Man, 105 kilo, which is going to be on Saturday, 27th in Austin, Texas. We have a pretty good lineup for you guys today. But let's catch up with the past winner, Jeffrey Lee. Jeff, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm trying to be like you, get bigger and stronger. That's it.
Big
So.
and thickness. What have you been up to? How's training?
Training's been good. Trying to incorporate, more of this bodybuilding, hypertrophy kind of thing, and get some mass, get some size on, so I can hang with some of the big boys. Because I've never really focused too much on that when I was competing as a 105. I, static or all my strength and everything was up there, but just never the size. So trying to match that and bring that up to get to the next level.
So really focusing on hypertrophy as of late, just more bodybuilding splits, or looks like you've been doing quite a bit of powerlifting still too.
I mean,
Past.
a little bit, a little bit. I'm definitely adding in more of the bodybuilding splits, but I am still, trying to get some strength in there. So I kind of mix it up and add in. Um, Definitely more bodybuilding split focus, but I'll still do my powerlifting stuff just to maintain that static strength. So
All
just to
right.
keep that up. Yeah.
Well, excellent. Are you? Unfortunately, there's 17 athletes at ASM this year, and Jeff Lee's not on there. Are you bummed you're not competing this year?
Um, I always, it'd be nice to go and defend it, but we'll give it up to someone new, or maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah,
Someone might
that's
take it
right.
back.
We'll take at
So,
the
yeah,
list. Look at the list in a moment.
yeah,
But we'll miss Jeff. But we know that Jeff's moving on to bigger, better things, and of course, right now it's important to get huge. When
yes,
I'm
sir.
done recovering from this bicep surgery, my goal is just to add 10, 20 pounds. So I'm a couple months behind you. But let's before we look at the roster, let's look at the past champions.
Ooh,
So this is the 20 years of America's Strongest Man, first incorporated back in 2004. You had Willie Wessels, and now you have James Deffenbach, of course, another owner that's also competing in the show too. But it's funny. It's always the first year.
yeah,
But right now, I think the one thing that you can notice once we show the roster is that Zach McCarley's coming back, and
yes, sir.
the title for most America's Strongest Man wins is up for grabs if he can win this year and tie Sean
Mm,
DeMarinis for 4 America's Strongest Man championships.
yeah, I mean the events
But of
are
course, that
looking
is
good. So,
very good.
yeah.
Anything you want to comment on the past champions?
Uh, no, I mean, it'd be nice. It would have been nice for me to kind of tie you up, but yeah, it's interesting to see how you go from Zach and Sean to being like super dominant at the 105s, and then that's when you start seeing that in a sense like drop off of now you're getting the new guys, the new 105s that come up. Um, Anthony and Terry, they kind of moved on, focusing on coaching things like that, but now you're moving up, and I'm also trying to move up into the heavyweights. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who can take the mantle of the next ASM 105.
Well, I like what you said. Of course, you had again Zach and Sean going on their streaks, but then you had the good parity, but it's all a lot like World's Strongest Man. For the heavyweights, you had
Yeah.
Zadrunas and Brian going back and forth for many
Yep.
years. Then you have that
Yep.
parity, but now it looks like you have Tom being that dominant guy again. So I think it's just
Yeah.
one of the things in the sport where sometimes you have parity, sometimes you have dominance. So right now, I think there's going to be a little more parity than pure dominance. But did Jeff Lee say he is going heavyweight?
That's the goal. We're trying. We're trying. We'll see how much I already have trouble gaining weight, so we'll see how this next year and a half goes.
Well, that's very exciting. So I think that's going to be a future episode to discuss. But let's focus on today's athletes. So we got 17. So let's go down the list. We got Damon Curtis. Damon Curtis is a Massachusetts man. I used to compete with Damon back in 2012 at local shows. Damon competed for a few years, then took some time off, did a little bodybuilding, and now has been back the last few years. And this will be his first America's Strongest Man. Christopher Otero. Otero? Is he Italian?
Otero?
So he was the Olympic City winner.
Yep. He won. He got first place there.
You know, and I believe he was at nationals.
Yeah, he pulled
and
something heavy with that trap bar when they had the nationals. I saw a video of it, but I can't remember. Yeah, so he's a decent. That's going to be his bread and butter here. His deadlift here.
All right.
From what I've seen of him.
And then this will be his first America's Strongest Man, so it'll be very interesting. Yep. Then you have Garrett Payne, also known as Gator.
That's what threw me off. I was like, who is this guy?
So this will be his first America's Strongest Man, and looking forward. So he got his he's not a pro, but he got his invite from taking third place at the Rainier Classic. Then you have Edwin Young, also known as Tyler Young. Edwin is his legal name, which I learned today. And I think Tyler finally hit the mythical 400-pound log, so there is a max log, which we'll talk about. So I think it'll be one of the favorites, right? Oh, it was a 402 log.
Yeah, don't cheat him out on those 2 pounds. Come on, man.
I just remember 400. Then you have Kevin Candido. Candido of Connecticut competed last year. Of course, very solid competitor, great grip, great stone. So excited to see him back with the fold. We have Justin Loy, the former bronze medalist at OSG 2021. We have the pleasure of competing with Justin a bunch of times. Former national winner. Took some time off to recover his hip, backs, and knees. So we're glad he's back in the fold. Philip Brinkman. He is a former Arnold amateur champion.
Yeah, he won at 22, I think.
Yes, he competed at OSG last year, but I think he passed up on ASM his first time around. But we're excited to see Phil back in. Then you have Michael Connor also. Say again?
No. I was just saying, Phil. He actually got hurt before ASM of 2023, so he had to drop out of that one, and then came in 11th at OSG.
That would have been
that would have been a good.
Oh yes, yes. That's 11th place is a tough. I've taken 11th before, missing the finals, and that's a tough place to be. Tough place, but we feel your pain, Philip.
He's a good competitor. He's been looking strong. He's been building up. He'll be good. It'll be a good one for him. All right. Sorry, I just wanted to cut it in there.
It's good. From Massachusetts, we have Michael O'Connor. Good, of course, good buddy of mine, training partner. He's just coming off a strong finish at the Rainier Classic, so he's excited for this show. I think this is actually going to be a pretty well-rounded show for Mike. He's a great thrower, great presser, great deadlifter, great mover, great bod, great kisser. So he's going to be ready for this contest. Then we have Jonathan Parker, North Carolina, powerful deadlifter. Amazing. This is his second America's Strongest Man.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to what Mr. Parker has. He's taken probably a year off, I think, since he's last competed, or since the last ASM, I
think. He competed ASM 23, did a little time off just to
got married.
Yeah, got married. I think he's gonna have
So
a kid
yeah,
soon, actually.
there's
So
yeah,
busy man.
well, wow.
Yeah,
Big things for Mr. Parker. We got
yeah.
Johnny Alimo. That's
Yes,
what I
sir.
say. I've said Alimo and Alamo before, so at least I'm
I
getting
go
one of them
Limo.
correct. Alimo,
Yeah,
yeah. At least we're getting one. At least we're getting one of them. Johnny, I think. So Johnny is, of course, I think he got a special invite from placing top 10 at OSG last year.
yeah,
Great presser, great deadlifter, but does he have the
yeah,
legs to keep up with some of these speed demons in this class, like
yeah,
Aiden Howell? So Aiden being
yeah.
probably the youngest member of this roster, 90
He's very
kilo
young.
guy that bumped up
Yeah,
to 105 and earned his pro card at the Arnold Amateur this past year. Great
yeah.
presser, very athletic. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. Then you have Matthew Powell. Matthew, this is his second ASM. I think we competed together back at ASM 2022.
Yep.
And Matt is a solid competitor. I think he did. Um, he's done other shows like the old Clash and PSL. So kind of a
Yep.
seasoned
He also
competitor. So
got
let's
fourth at the Arnold recently. So he had a good showing there. So he was making that day 3 or 2, I guess, whatever. I don't know how they do it at the amateur Arnold anymore, but yeah, I think it's like he made that finals for the 105s. I think next guy Shane too. He did that too, right?
Shane Darrow. Yes, great
Yeah,
deadlift. I've competed with Shane on a few occasions.
yeah,
So looking forward to what he does this time around.
yeah.
Shane did earn his pro card, I think, from taking second at the Arnold Amateur. If I have my
Sounds right.
information correctly, I think it wasn't it Shane, um,
Alec,
Shane
Shane,
Aiden and
yeah, and then Matt.
Matt. I want to say
Yeah,
are the three
sounds
guys
right.
that pro card, and then Smoke Up already had his pro
Yeah,
card, and then we have the return of Matt Mills, a good buddy of ours.
yep,
He recently, or not recently, but in the past, he's taken as high as third at America's Strongest Man back
yep.
when Sean DeMarinis and Rob Kearney were competing back in 2014, 2015.
2015.
Um,
Yep.
we have Patrick Santiago. So Patrick, he just recently won his pro card. He took second behind Alec at Nationals in 2023.
Hmm.
He recently competed at Ultimate Strongman, so he's coming off kind of a pretty strong competition finish, taking
Yeah,
third in the 265 class. So we're excited to see what Patrick does, and he better not disappoint us, or he's out of the group.
yeah.
Then you have James Deffenbog.
The new.
Sorry, Jeff Deffenbog. Tell us about Jeff.
Oh man, he's the new owner of Strongman Core. So him and Lynn teamed up and took it over. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what they do with the with Strongman Core and how they move Strongman forward. They both they've been great promoters in the past, so they know what they're doing and they can just add to however great Strongman Core already is. So it'll just take it to the next level.
It,
Um, but
I
James
think
already
it's great
won.
that
Yeah.
I'll just say real
Huh?
quick. It's great that Strongman Corporation got some fresh legs now to carry on
Yeah.
to the future.
Yeah,
But
Dion was doing a lot already, so it's she needed that time to switch over, So, but yeah, James, he already won 2017. Hopefully, he can add a second title to this
so
at this contest.
he's actually had 3 podiums at ASM. He's done
Yeah,
first, second, and third. So let's see if he can at least
yeah,
take a 4th podium this year. And then rounding out, you have Zach McCarley, the 3-time champ, recent winner of the Ultimate Strongman World Championships. I
yeah,
think that's his second world title, and I think probably the favorite right now after his recent performance. Is
yeah.
that fair to say, Jeffy?
Yeah, he's killing it out there, and he also not only did he win it day one, with the World Ultimate Championships, he came back the next day and won the World Strongest Nation with Johnny Wasiko and Derek Owens and was it
Tyler
Tyler
Davis.
Tyler Davis, yeah, so doing however many events that was in 2 days is no small feat, while traveling, while cutting. So Zach is an amazing athlete. Yeah, he's
And
definitely.
And you would have been a 4-time America's Strongest Man if it wasn't for Jeffy. So
I stopped it.
It's all right. But you guys had a great battle. It was
Yeah.
I forget. I looked at the score sheet recently,
Mhm.
probably in the last few weeks or so, but it was a real battle between you two. So I think taking second last year, he's probably poised to really finish strong and come for the win this year. But again, he has some stiff competition. So let's go through the events. So looking at event 1, you have the max log. All right. So athletes will have 30 seconds to attempt. I think they're probably going to start around like 260 is probably my guess. So max log is a favorite. So in the past, you had guys like Sean DeMarinis hit like 370. Rob hit 400 and 410 at previous America's Strongest Man's. Jesse Nelson almost broke Rob's record one year back in 2019. When we competed in 2019, like three of us tied at 370, and Jesse ended up winning with 380. So we know that for 105 between 350 and 380 will be exceptional, but 400 is probably going to win you the event. So looking at these guys, who do you think is going to be pushing for those top spots?
I mean, Zach has got an amazing press, so he'll be up there. I don't know off the top of my head of how well his 1-rep max is versus his press medley, because he can speed through, he can get through rep event or implement after implement, and he's really strong there. But the 1-rep max, it's a whole different type of event. Aiden Howell, he just hit 375, or he posted something recently, 375.
Really? I think I missed that.
It was in his story, so he literally just it was like quick little. He also
375. It wasn't important enough to make it a post, but just
he's probably
casual 375.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him trying to try to break 4. I mean, Tyler Young, of course, he just hit that in training, so it'd be nice to see him actually put that out in a contest. Justin Lloyd too, his pressing is getting up there. So, sorry, what?
Absolutely. I was gonna say, we also could look at someone like Garrett or Gator.
Yeah, he's a good presser.
And also we could Johnny Alimo. So Johnny, he's hit 370 in the past, even for how young he is. So I think that'll be a good event for him. So some of the rest of the guys. So I think it'll be interesting. So of course, Matt Mills being America's Strongest Master, he's hit some pretty big logs, but we'll see if he still has the horsepower to kind of hang with these guys.
Yeah, it'll be good to see him
and
back.
I think for the rest of the crowd, so there's some other guys that could be potential kind of knocking at like 350, like my buddy Damien, and of course Mike, the Massachusetts guys. So I think so 350 in the past has been at least top half of the field. So again, but with 17 guys, you're going to have a lot of strength and weaknesses going through. So that's a good preview for the log. So looking, go ahead. Go ahead, Jeffy.
Oh no, I was just saying, it all comes down to, how they run this contest too, like how much break and how much, how big the jumps these guys are taking, things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys strategize. And
so they're going to probably start with 20-pound jumps, and then they'll move to 10-pound jumps. So that will be a nice piece.
Yeah.
So the deadlift medley. So it looks like it's going to be a series of rising bars. So 3 bars, and then finishing with reps for as many as possible within the 60 seconds. No touch and goes. Hitching is allowed.
Yeah.
And then scores will be total number of reps. So who are the strong deadlifters among these guys, Jeffy?
So weight wise, it'd be what, 615. 645, 675. So that's I personally, I think that's a little light, but 675, it'll be a lot of reps. But let's see, we got Chris Otero and John Parker. Those are the 2 big ones off the top of my head of big deadlifters. So I think those 2 will put I could see them trying to break, into the 10 rep range total wise. So that'll be interesting. Because Chris, Chris Otero, he actually posted back in May, I think he hit 675 for 9. in I don't know, however
Mhm.
many, less than a minute in training. So
Wow, that's very strong, very fast
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Oh,
So
also looking at deadlifts, don't forget about Mr. Mike O'Connor. This is probably Mike's best event.
yeah, yep,
Maybe sandbag throwing is also a really great event for him, which we'll talk about later.
yeah.
Of course,
He's
you
an
have someone like
explosive
Tyler
athlete.
Young, who's
Yep.
a very much of a static monster. Kevin Canito's great deadlifter as well. Shane Darrow, I think, has an 800-pound pull. I think suit, but still a very
Yeah,
impressive pull. And then, of
still,
course, you still have the likes of guys like Zach James and Matt Mills, who've been great pullers in the past. So
yeah.
I think deadlift is going to be pretty competitive. But you think John Parker is going to take the win here? Would you put your
John,
money on it?
yeah, he'll. I mean, he tied me and Zach last year, so we were trying to catch up and beat him, but we all ended up tying with 9 reps on that keg deadlift. So that was fun. But it'll
All
also be
right.
interesting. I mean,
So
Kevin,
John, it's his event to
yeah.
lose.
It'll also be just a note for Kevin Candido. He tore his bicep at OSG, so I don't know if this is his first competition back. It might be, but
Hmm.
we'll see if it is, and it'll be a good test to see how his recovery is and everything like that. So,
Tearing
um,
biceps, always fun.
yeah,
But it'll be interesting. So if he tore it for OSG, so this is roughly about 7 months, which is
yeah,
I would say usually you would look probably at 6 months to be fully healed from a good tear. You can still probably compete within, but you just kind of
yeah.
you're going to be
More
managing a little
risky.
more risk and
Yeah,
real risky. Yes, and
yeah.
strongman's a lot like stock trading. You got to manage the risk in order to survive. So,
There you
Jonathan, we're looking for you to be the winner, or else we're taking your pro card.
go.
So, event
On.
3, you have the farmer, sandbag, and medley. So,
Mhm.
it's a 60-second time limit, and athletes will compete head to head. They'll go 50 feet down with the handles, and then they'll do
Yep.
50 feet back with the sandbag, and then
Yeah.
uh, oh no, it's 50 feet down
No,
with the handles, 50 feet.
and then you got to run back.
Oh no,
Yeah.
running back 50 feet.
Yep.
Got it.
So yeah,
All
a
right.
lot of running, a little bit of cardio here, but again, the weights aren't too bad. 325 for each for the handles and the sandbag. So um, that for 105s, it shouldn't be too bad. It'll be a matter of speed. And,
Mm,
top few will be based on like seconds. I feel like
All right. So
milliseconds.
guys that will shine. This is moving events. When Zach McCarley was winning his streak of America's Strongest titles, he was a killer at moving events. But you also
Yep.
have someone like Justin Loy, who's also a great mover with those long, beautiful legs of his. And then, but you still have a lot of athletic individuals here.
Oh yeah.
Aiden Howe is extremely athletic. I think he had some great runs because it was
Yep.
a lot of the events at PSL were pretty light, so he was running through that contest. But who else should we be looking out for in this list
Um,
for this moving event?
Phil Phil Brinkman is actually pretty athletic, and Mike O'Connor too. They're both
Right.
similar builds. Mike's a little more jacked, but Phil, they long limbs, so they're carrying pretty good. They have decent grip, and they'll be able to blast through this whole the whole medley. And I'm trying to look down the list. Again, Kevin Candido, super grip, so he'll blast through the farmers, and then we'll see how that recovery is for the sandbag part. Johnny Limo, he's a super athletic kid, so he's a contender too. He'll be up there for that. Then yeah,
Yeah.
you can never count out someone like Matt or James because they're veterans. So
Yeah. This is
it'll
a
be
tough one to
interesting.
pick a winner.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, very, very.
if I had to be a betting man, I might bet Zach, but
Yeah,
Zach's not in his early 20s like he was back when, especially with these young guys. So
yeah,
this will be an interesting one, but I still think he will pick up pretty good points.
yeah. He'll definitely be top few.
So looking at the fourth event, the arm over arm truck pulls.
Mm,
So the athletes will pull a truck arm over arm. So they'll be seated down and then pulling a
mhm,
truck about
yeah,
50 feet in about 60 seconds, and fastest time wins. So
yeah.
this is another interesting event. I think it's just going to come down to some of the coordination, but also kind of experience. So I would think that someone like Jeff Deffenbog and Zach McCarley would probably do pretty well here. I would see even some of the strong deadlifters like Mike O'Connor, Jonathan Parker. But what does our favorite analyst, Jeff Lee, think?
No, I mean, definitely Zach and James, of course. But yeah, I mean, there's so many different factors for this event, depending on, what kind of rope, how heavy the truck or sled, whatever they actually use, actually is. And then it'll be a matter of, do I use more legs? Do I use more grip? So many different things. But again, Mike he's good with the grip. He's good with using his legs, so that'll be good for him. But we go back to Zach McCarley as he might be the favorite there for that.
Just sometimes experience kills. But you made a good point about the thickness of the rope. How does the thickness of the rope play a factor in the events like these?
Because if you have a thinner rope, a thicker rope, that'll go down to your grip strength. So, how fast you're actually able to move your hands to pull the implement, the truck. Or if it's, light enough, or if it's too heavy, or if it's heavier, then you're going to end up using a little more legs. So, and, yes, you're just going to hold on to the grip, but you're not really moving your hands as fast comparatively. So, yeah. Again, I've only done truck pull maybe 2 or 3 times, I think, in competition. So I've never, these are just some of the things I think about though when I do see it versus I've never actually done it, unfortunately.
But it's interesting on ropes. I used to change the different ropes I would use for either traditional truck pull or a arm over arm pull. Because if I would sometimes use a really thick rope because that would just destroy the grip, and then switch it up to something where I'm really pounding the legs. But you never know what you're going to get come competition day. So it doesn't hurt to try different things. Yep. So you're ready for all instances, and you're bulletproofing yourself for any situation that's going to come your way. So that's 4 events. So there's only a 5 event contest here at ASM, and the final event being the sandbag toss. So the athletes will throw 4 sandbags, but I also read earlier that it's time to get all 5 sandbags. So I think it's gonna be 5 sandbags wins. It's gonna be 15 feet, and it'll be a race to finish. So an interesting one to kind of finish off the contest is I've never seen a sandbag toss being the finisher, but it's definitely going to be pretty interesting. But there are some great throwers here. But what is Jeff's take?
Jeff Deffenbaugh has a ridiculous sandbag throw, so I think he is actually going to be probably the favorite to win the whole thing. He's got very good speed and strength for the sandbag throws. But again, someone like Mike O'Connor and Phil Brinkman, they're both super athletic and they can move around really well. Same with Justin Loy. He's got the long arms, and along with Johnny Alimo, actually, he's been training it since December, or technically.
How is Johnny's bags at OSG?
Oof. I can't remember, but he was pretty fast on those. I don't. And then, trying to see if I can pull that up. Maybe.
So for the most part, it's just a lot of these guys is just sandbag is going to make or break kind of their day, especially at the end where everybody's kind of scraping for a few points. Another good event for Mike O'Connor. I think someone like Kevin Candido, as long as he's healthy, he's nice, tall, and handsome. So he should be able to throw those. This might be a tough opportunity for Mr. Tyler Edwin Young. So not to pick on your height, Mr. Shortman, but it's just one of those things. But Tyler did impress us at the first clash, winning his group's keg toss. But I would say sandbags are going to be a little different this time around. So right now it's interesting because we have guys that we listed probably out for most of the events, but then we have guys that we didn't really talk much about throughout the events. So you have some guys that have their really heavy of course, the heavy kind of specialties, and then you have guys that are pretty well rounded throughout all 5 events. So it's going to be really interested in terms of how everything kind of shakes out towards the end of the contest. But what does Jeffy? How does this play out, Jeff? Like, do you have a top 5 or top 3 that you can come down to, or to that you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, Zach and James should be up there as long as, based on everything that we've been talking about, as long as everything, goes smoothly for them. So those are the top, few podium guys, but it's definitely a lot tougher to even round out like between 3 and 5. Third to fifth place is going to be tough because even though it might be like their first or second ASMs, these guys have still been competing for a while. You know what I mean? So it can be, putting me on the spot here.
A little bit. So I think it's fair to say that Zach's kind of coming here as the favorite just with the recent win and his last year's finish, taking second at America's Strongest Man. And then this is a contest. He's actually, him and James are probably the ones that have done America's Strongest Man the most, so the most experience to kind of carry over. So as long as James does well on the press, he's going to be right there in the top 3 or 5. I'm gonna push on my buddy Mike O'Connor. I think just all these events are in his wheelhouse. He's great at deadlifting. He has a strong max log, great thrower, and then great mover. So I think that thought is there. So if he executes to his best of abilities, I think he's going to be right there at the top of the list. And then it would be interesting to see if someone like Johnny Alimo can break maybe potentially the top 5. I would expect Justin Loy. He just has a lot of great competitions where he's either podium or won some decent competitions. So he'll be ready. I think he's competing a few days. He's competing this week or next weekend at the OSG South Regional. So that would be a good test. So depending on how he does there, that would be a good indicator of how he will do at
I think
ASM.
There's a little bit of crossover, so that's helping him.
Absolutely. So let's just say I'm putting Zach James, Justin Mike, and then I think I'm gonna go. The fifth one, number 5 is tough. I'm either chewing on Jonathan Parker or Edwin Tyler Young.
So wait, you got Zach James, Mike,
Justin Mike, and Edwin Tyler Young.
Okay. Ooh, yeah. I mean, again, you got the first 2 events that are good for Tyler. So, and then he did okay at the sandbag because he did that in.
He's a quick mover.
He's a quick mover. So it'll be he could be up there. I can see Alimo sneaking his way through to maybe top 5, and even Aiden too, because he's a young kid and he's very strong. So I think if he can do well in the max log and then just keep that momentum for the next 4 events, he can be pretty good for that. But you can never count out Matt Mills because he's seasoned veteran, just looking strong overall. So I think he can, he knows how to strategize and keep up with everyone else. So I'll be good for him.
It's very true. I remember back when top 5 was just it was almost the whole contest, but now that's only a third of the show. Now you probably a little less than 17 competitors. That's the biggest ASM we've seen, I think, ever. Last year was 13. The year before was 13. I did it when it was 10. 2020, I think we had 10. 2019, I think that was 13 or 12. 2018 when Sean won it, that was 9. 2017 when Sean got hurt, that was 7. That was probably the smallest one. And then 2016 we had 8 or 9. So I would say some people are probably asking why there's so many more pros now compared to back when, and that's probably because back when they probably only gave out 2 or 3 pro cards a year. Like for instance, when I was competing in 2015 and when Jeffy was competing in 2016, but now we're giving out probably 7 or 8 pro cards a year, which I think is probably a little better because we've seen so many individuals like potentially Jeffy and I are both. We both not potentially we both made the move to heavyweight, so of course that keeps us out of contention. Some people win the pro card and don't come back, and then some people sometimes get hurt or they move on to different life. So I think it does make sense to offer more pro cards just because we need to continue filling the roster. But it's great that we have 17 athletes. Sometimes the heavyweights get up to these numbers. The women's don't even get close to this number. So it's great that for the 21st running of America's Strongest Man, we're seeing 17 athletes.
Yeah. I mean, it's good too because it just kind of shows that the sport is growing. So we're getting more and more people interested in wanting to compete. So now we have 17 potential, 17 people competing at America's Strongest Man, and I can see it too for like why there's so much turnaround in a sense for the 105s because it's tough as a strength athlete. You always want to get bigger and stronger, and as you get bigger and stronger, it's tougher to keep making these weight cuts down to 105. So I could see why you'll keep seeing these new guys come in and hopefully take the reins.
No one wants to shed muscle. That's not fun for us.
Exactly.
We want to look huge at the beach and look huge when we walk into Chipotle and order our 2 giant burritos with double steak and guac. We want to, and then we're wearing our crop tops and looking all jacked to the gym. We don't want to shed muscle. So that was probably one of the main reasons I moved up. I just couldn't. The cuts were just getting too big. Jeffy's on his way. You think you'll make any more cuts by? You think you'll do any more 105s before you make the complete move to heavyweight?
I don't know. We'll see. The way life's going, I don't think so. Just for me to keep that, maintain that heavyweight status, I don't want to lose that momentum of it. So if I'm going to start prepping for a contest and then start cutting weight, that'll just cut me back in terms of timing, and then I'll just lose that. So I'd rather just stick to getting bigger.
Well,
moving to the heavyweight.
We heard it here, so we'll be much excited. So potentially a heavyweight Jeff could a heavyweight Jeff take on Tom Stolman for the Atlas Stone record?
Maybe. I definitely, hey, it'd be nice to go for Wes's American record. Let's start there because I think was it like 550 or something? I think 550 or Wes Claiborne did it at the Arnold. Can't remember the year, but maybe 2019, 2018, 550 something.
Yeah, I can't remember that's a solid number. And then, and then in the past, you've talked about going for 502 as a 105. So, I think if you put on 50-pound body weight, you could put on 50 pounds on your stone. That should be almost automatic.
We'll see. For not hitting stones since OSG in December and hitting that 445 to 56 inches, I think that's a decent mark of to show where I'm going with the stone record or stone loading.
Sure, but I think Stone Series is going to be your jam, especially with the one motions and the quick loads. That's going to be fun to watch once we get you to that stage.
Let's hope. And I hope that I can just keep up though, just because the heavyweights guys, they do have that height on me. I'm barely 6'1", little over.
I thought you're 6'2".
No,
you get shorter on me. Is that too many yokes?
Yeah, that's it. No, I've never been that tall. I just look it, I guess, because I'm lanky. So.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, you got an inch on me. So you grow.
Every inch matters.
Anything else to finish today for America's Strongest Man predictions? Any lasting thoughts? Any wise suggestions or any advice you want to lend to the competitors for America's Strongest Man?
America's Strongest Man. It'll be a fun one to see who can take the reins from me and Camby. because we're the past 2 winners. So
Yeah,
I think,
that is true.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you saw the list of guys. Let's go back to the winners, right? So a lot of these guys went on to do big things. So
yeah,
again, you have 4-time winners, 3-time winners. You have someone like myself moving up to heavyweights, someone like Jeff moving up to heavyweights, other guys who go on to become successful coaches like Anthony Deal, Terry Rady, James Deffenbach's competing, but he's also the new owner. So big
yeah.
things for America's Strongest Man. So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
unfortunately, Justin and Dave and Jared and Kevin, I don't really know you guys. Unfortunately, you guys are before my time, but thank you for competing. I would say that
Yep.
every competition matters, and you're laying down the bricks for the newest generation of athletes. So, but I think this is the one thing, the reason why we like to do the prediction videos is because America's Strongest Man is pretty special. It's probably the best 105 show outside of World's Strongest Man, 105 kilo.
Yeah.
It's just a very competitive. America's always very competitive in the 105s. I think it's proven track record that America 105 is the best 105 system in the world. So whoever wins America's is going to be that guy to beat. And I think it's shown that even last year, the World's Strongest Man winner took 7th in this contest. So it's Mr. Dan Hughes. We didn't even talk about Dan. We're gonna be missing Dan this time around. But,
Yeah. So
you know, and if
it'll be a
someone like
shame.
it's crazy if Dan showed up in how he would shake up this lineup with his throw, with his deadlift, with his pressing.
Ooh.
He's pretty much very Dan. If Dan magically came into this lineup, he would be right up there in our top 3. But all those events are really good events for Dan. So we even forgot some top guys that are just not available at this moment. So pretty
Other
interesting.
people are focusing. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who else could have showed up or shaken things up for ASM here. But yeah, hopefully Dan.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would like to see Alec, but I understand Alec is putting his money into the Shaw. I think he's a big fan of Brian Shaw, so he wants to.
Burley too. Yeah.
Burley, yes. I think he's also doing the Shaw. So missing a couple of guys, but I think that we still captured with 17 guys, so a big part of the sport. But of course, that's all my thoughts for today, Jeff. You've been a great guest, a great analyst for today. Hope to have you on many more times, another 4 or 5, 6 times. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, notification bell, so you know when all the good videos are coming. You can follow Jeff Lee at Chunky Cheese. I'll put his link on Instagram, and then Jeff is going to leave you with words of advice to end the show. What advice do you want to leave the listeners?
I don't know if I said this last time, but it still holds true of take your time with this. Like, I see young kids trying to jump in. I think Wes Stravinsky talked about this too, of what is it? He said self-perseverance or something like that. Self-regulation. Yeah. So same thing. Like, don't try to jump into things. Take your time and build yourself up. That's why I'm taking my time to potentially go to heavyweights if my body allows it. I'm not going to try to jump into OSG heavyweight maybe this year, because that would be too much too quick. So if I do it, it'd be 2025. So that's giving me a year plus of building up. So everyone else, take your time. I know everyone wants that instant gratification of being on the internet, blah blah blah, but no, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Like Jeff's former teacher said, Mr. Miyagi, you must have discipline.
Exactly.